Eh, eh. Good morning. Feels like it's been a while since I've been sick. Feels like it's been a while. It's been a little bit. Check out. They need to repair. I'm sure it'll be fine for a while. I think there's lots of story first. I think there's lots of story first, so it's gonna be okay anyway. We're gonna be okay. So here we go. The next ship to sail. Cedric, do you have some time to talk? I'd like to gather everyone in Dawn's Respite and together assess the situation in which we find ourselves. Sure, pal. Let us take stock of the facts, shall we? The crisis at hand began with the sudden appearance of ominous towers in a multitude of locations throughout the world. We have since learned that said structures were brought into being by an organization known as the Telophoroi's stated purpose is to recreate the final days of Aeon's past. An apocalyptic event that would result in the destruction of all we hold dear. Already have these towers of theirs been the cause of untold suffering. Countless innocents kidnapped and imprisoned, their faith perverted for primal summonings. Unless we find a way to deal with the corruptive aura surrounding the spires, we can't even get close enough to rescue anyone. Those shielded with the blessing of light seem able to resist being tempered, at least. But after what happened to Arnvald and Ferdola, we need to be very, very careful about how we proceed. While these threats seem close to home, are of paramount concern. We mustn't lose sight of the situation in Garlemald. As you know, the Telophoroi are under the leadership of Daniel and one other delightful fellow, Zenus Ye Galvis, the Crown Prince and our dear friend. To date, he's reclaimed his old body, murdered Emperor Varus, and plunged Garlemald into an even deeper pit of chaos. The capital has probably seen the worst of it. For a good while there, it saw the bloodiest fighting in the War of Succession, but that has since changed, and in troubling ways. During our reconnaissance, the air was not once rent by the barking of cannons or the cries of discord. 'Twas an eerie fog of silence which did blanket that ruined city. The inhabitants appeared to have been tempered, and with nary a word spoken did they labor to transform the palace into a soaring edifice born of nightmares. Excuse me. They were indeed made thralls. It seemed safe to assume that these events, too, were orchestrated by the Telophoroi. An army of primals is awful enough, but in light of recent developments, I fear it is only the prelude to an even greater catastrophe. We need to devise a means to counter this threat, and quickly, before our allies are overwhelmed. We'll find a way in Charlene, I'm sure of it. Mr. Fortunal's comments regarding the final days were curious to say the least. The forum knows more than it's letting on. Sorry to interrupt. We've just received word from Mistress Cryle. She says the arrangements for your visit have been finalized. Oh. You're to head to Limpsa Limits and board the next ship bound for Charlene. And on arrival, present yourselves as associates of the students of Baldessian, come to assist with the Order's restoration. The arrangements may be settled, but what are your thoughts? They must race at the prospect of returning home after so long. I am eager to see it, of course. course. We should set off at once. Then I'll accompany you to the docks. You need at least one person there to wave and cry. Wish you a safe journey. Bum 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 bum. Let's get this ship sailing. Uh-oh. 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 Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know what that is. We know what that is. Huh. Everyone's here, which is good because I've already paid for your passage and the fee is non-refundable. The ship for Charlene should be pulling into port soon, so please follow me and have all your luggage close in hand. Temperature thermometer? 1 second.
They've almost finished loading our cargo. We should be ready to depart right on schedule, or so I'm told.
Okay, right. Be ready to depart on schedule, so I'm told.
Excellent. 'Tis nice to have a smooth beginning to one's journey, at the very least.
It's funny.
What's funny? Your face?
Master Louis Soir came here on a ship very much like this one. And now, years later, the street urchin he befriended that day is bound for his mentor's homeland. With his mentor's grandchildren, no less.
Aye. 'Tis upon reflection that every twist of time's river and fate's whims are brought into sharp relief. Thou hast matured much in the intervening years. Wert thou not caught attempting to relieve Master Louis Soir of his purse scant moments after he made landfall upon this dock?
Something like that.
Oh, really? Now that's a tale I'd like to hear.
Will this be your first visit to Charlian, Sir Estinian?
Well, yeah.
Sir Estinian?
Huh?
Are we strangers newly met? Why this
Oh.
stiff formality?
I, merely meant it as a professional courtesy, since we are now colleagues in an official sense.
I'd rather you dispense with the sirs, especially in private company. Or I'll be forced to respond in kind, little Lord Alphinaud.
Oh.
You've made your point, Estinian. Painfully well.
Little lord.
Better.
Tataru. You seem positively distraught.
Distraught? Me? Don't be silly. I think it's lovely that they get to see their homeland. It's just, we're trying to thwart the schemes of an army hellbent on destroying the world.
Yeah.
And once again, I have to stay behind and worry that this is the last time I'll get to see my friends.
We won't be gone that long. I got you, Tataru.
I'll hold you to that.
Better.
Ah, good. You're still here.
Oh, hey guys.
Hori! Kultine! What brings you all this way?
We're to assist the Maelstrom and the Kobolds with a lunar primal operation, so we thought we'd see you off before heading to the tower.
Nice.
Flamine and the others wish you all a safe journey and promise that they'll look after things here until you return.
At least we get to say
We will too, of
see you
course.
later.
Aye. We,
This
your
time.
fellow Scions of the Seventh Dawn, will do our part to ensure the end of the world won't happen on our watch.
We're not just passing out one at a time. This time.
We set the sail. All aboard for Charlian.
It's time.
Yes, it is. Let's go.
Then we must delay no longer. We will contact you the moment we learn aught of value. Wish us luck.
Have a safe journey, and please, please, be careful.
And so you venture forth unto the unknown. A fate beyond the horizon that cannot be divined. A future undefined and in flux. In uncertain times, naught but the simplest words of wisdom will suffice. That which lives is destined to die. Love leads to loss. Every beginning has an end. Treasure every moment, every step of your descent. And there, in the depths where souls and stars rest, find your truth.
Ooh. Ooh.
Here. Feel. Think.
The day has barely dawned, my fellow earlier riser. Though we're hardly alone in that. Envious of those still sleeping soundly, no doubt. Called out to you, you say? I've heard nothing myself. In any case, I dare say the sea air will do you good. Why not join the others on deck? Charlian should be coming into view at any moment.
Very nice. Oh.
My voice yet reaches you. I am glad. Hear, feel, think. And thus do we meet face to face at last. My warrior of light, guided by the crystal.
Eidolon. Why now, Eidolon?
After your sojourn in the First, I believe you have your answer. You have gained an understanding of what I truly am, what Eidolon has always been, a primal. Zodiac was created to forestall the apocalypse which threatened the ancient world. And I was brought forth to bind him. Yet 7 times now, those who would orchestrate a return to that bygone era have rejoined a shard to the god I had sundered. The greater his strength grows, the swifter does mine own diminish. The power to draw your mind into the rift betwixt is no longer mine to wield. Yet though it taxes me sorely, I dare not leave these words unsaid. Even bereft of my guidance, you and your companions have accepted the burden of this star's troubled past. A conjunction has begun to form, an intertwining of your time and mine.
Ooh.
Wheels shudder and turn. Conflict looms. Monumental. Which will decide the fate of this world and all life upon it. When you truly understand what is at stake, and your journey has prepared you to surmount the insurmountable, then shall I honor the promise made in another time, another age.
Cast your peepers to the fore, folks. Charlian's just over yonder.
I will not keep you further. Your traveler's heart must yearn to behold this unfamiliar land. We shall meet again, and soon.
Cats are silly.
Oh, what a fine morning. Oh, still a bit stiff though.
And a good morning to you too. Taken a look at the island already?
Nope, haven't looked at all.
Let's go. Let's go. Might still be room in the prow if we're lucky.
Ah, the sleepers have arisen. There she is. Good old Charlian.
Oh, I see it.
Home at last. Well, maybe not in Father's eyes, but we'll manage on our own, if we must.
You do know you're not alone in this, don't you? Indeed, 'tis as Sir Estinian said. Forget not the comrades who boarded this ship at your side, I prithee.
Thank you, my friends. We are ever grateful for your steadfast support.
Upon arrival, we will be disembarking into the heart of Charlian proper.
Missed it.
There is no greater concentration of wisdom in all the world. I am confident that somewhere within that center of knowledge and learning, we will find the answers we seek.
Mm-hmm. Dun, 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 dun. Endwalker. Do, 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 do.
Charlian, the solitary island nation of the northern seas.
Mm-hmm.
Where under the watchful gaze of Thaliak, patron deity of scholars, academics hoard all manner of knowledge and secrets. Once, they deigned to accept foreign students into a distant colony maintained in the Dravanian hinterlands. How swiftly they abandoned it once the first Garlean boot set hostile foot on Alamegan soil.
Oh.
So averse to the prosecution of war, these men of wisdom, your would-be allies.
I thought they'd never let us off the ship. What's next then? Entry applications?
Hopefully they find no cause to deny us.
Hasn't Charlian all but severed relations with foreign powers? Those of us without direct ties, myself included, may be refused outright.
'Tis true that, as a nation, Charlian only forms trade agreements with a select few neutral countries. But from a practical standpoint,
Mhm.
an island cannot afford to be overly strict with its borders. Especially not if that island's people are wholly devoted to the accumulation of knowledge.
Yeah.
If one submits the proper paperwork with satisfactory evidence of identity and intent, then foreigners may be granted entry.
Very nice.
May.
May. Yeah.
Quite. So let us be absolutely clear on these points before we proceed. The immigration officer will ask for your affiliation and your purpose of visit. Considering Sharlayan's views on intervention, I strongly suggest we avoid any mention of the Scions.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Kral has laid the groundwork for us to act as associates of the students of Baldessian, and our ostensible reason for being here is to aid in their order's restoration.
Sounds good.
Grahatir, it might expedite our progress should an actual student be seen at the head of our little group. Would you mind leading the way?
Of course. The immigration offices were this way, as I recall. Shall we?
Yeah, let's go. Oh.
Greetings. We've just arrived and are eager to make our way into the city. Would you be so kind as to process our entry applications?
Certainly. I see by your mark you are an Archon.
I am. Grahatir of the Students of Baldessian at your service.
Oh.
I was assigned to an Eorzean survey team, but have returned to assist with the reformation of my order. My associates here will provide additional support.
Very good. I have paperwork detailing your group and its scheduled arrival for today.
Very nice.
And it seems some few of your companions are also Archons. If you'll step forward, we can process those applications first.
Ishtola rule.
See how it glows. That list is etherically linked with the citizen registry kept in the main repository.
Ooh. The internet.
I've confirmed your status as Archons and amended your travel records accordingly. Welcome home.
Water.
Now, who do we have here?
Alphino Leveilleur.
And Alize Leveilleur.
Oh.
Your applications have also been approved. Having said
Very
that,
good.
the streets are abuzz with talk of how House Leveilleur's lord disowned his young progeny.
That's unfortunate.
And while such personal circumstances constitute no reason to deny you entry, I urge you to avoid exacerbating your present situation. Times are quite troubled enough already.
We shall keep that in mind.
These last two are not Sharlayan natives, but you will find their credentials are in order. An application was made in advance.
Name and occupation?
Adventure.
An adventurer. Well, I suppose that is considered a valid calling in your native Eorzea, and it does indeed match the profile provided. You may enter. And you, sir?
Estinian Valino, formerly of the Order of the Knights Dragoon in Ishgard.
Formerly, at least. And what, pray tell, is your profession now?
Estinian, what are you doing now? What are you doing now, Estinian? Tyler. Oh.
If you'll allow me. My associate is a mercenary, hired for his strength at arms. Surely you are aware of the dangers we often face on our forays into the wilderness.
Surely.
Mistress Baldessian, if you insist on sponsoring his entry, then so be it. But while I appreciate that desperate times call for desperate measures, I find your choice of company concerning.
Concerning?
Be advised that even a single misstep may have severe repercussions for your organization.
I have every confidence in my chosen company, dear and trusted comrades that they are. But I thank you for your concern.
Croyle, it is good to see you.
Likewise. Long voyage notwithstanding, you will seem none the worse for wear.
And we're done okay, I think.
There is much to discuss, but this is hardly the place. Let's be on our way, shall we?
Yes.
Oh.
Huh?
Welcome, friends, to Sharlayan.
As your mercenary, I should hope my welcome includes a generous salary.
Well, I had to say something, Sir Taciturn.
Oh. Oh, it's snowing. Very nice. I'm glad I spotted your ship coming into port. The officers are born bureaucrats and sticklers for detail. In any case, you may relax and take a moment to get your legs back. Thank you. Go down there. I had thought to launch directly into an explanation of what I've learned and how we might proceed. But this is Cedric and Estinian's first time in Sharlayan. And for the rest of you, homecoming now is long overdue. You must have places you wish to visit and people you're dying to see. Therefore, I propose we postpone our agenda so that you all may have sufficient time to recover from your journey and get your bearings in the city. Once you've settled in, we can reconvene at the Baldessian Annex. How does that sound? It's a fine suggestion. We may not be welcome at the Levelure estate as such, but I should like to nose around the neighborhood all the same. I'm equally untethered, as it were. There's no particular place that my kin call home. Still, I would not pass up the opportunity to reacquaint myself with the city. Likewise, a quick tour of old haunts might even yield some useful gossip. Annex was west of the Aetheryte Plaza, wasn't it? I shall join you there anon. Yes, we'll see you there. I too have places I would be remiss in not visiting forthwith. By thy leave. What of you, Estinian? My services are as a guide are yours for the asking. That won't be necessary. Until we reconvene, I prefer to wander as the wind takes me. But I could... Oh. Well, Raha, would you like to join us then? You've been gone for quite a while, and this would be a perfect way to refresh those dusty old memories of yours. Oh, of course. You'll have me. I'm Cedric. Starlian awaits. There we go. That one should do nicely. After you, my friend. I am more than content to follow your lead. All set, then let's be on our way. Our first stop, amusingly enough, will be the last stand. It's a cafe on the west side of the harbor. Boo, 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 boo. Boo, boo. Boo. With all the unusual wares coming and going at all hours, I expect the assistance of an intrepid adventurer would be highly appreciated. I see no reason why you couldn't undertake any task which pique your interest. You have been cleared by the immigration officials, after all. I am here now. I look forward to the day your name is celebrated in Charlene the same way it is in Eorzea. This place is called the Peristyle, and is the first stop for cargo unloaded at the docks. You'll find the usual necessities for daily living and other imports vital to running an island nation, but also supplies a look at further Charlene's pursuit of knowledge, namely large quantities of books, specimens, and samples. Sorting these stacks certainly seems to keep the attendants busy. Yeah, that's armor from Pandemonium 5 through 8. Yeah, I know, I gotta work on it. I want it. No, that's the chess piece. That's from the chess piece. Yeah, look at that. Isn't that cool? The helmet has spiky glows too. I don't know if anybody has one on WoW. I don't see any nearby at the moment. But the helmet has spiky glows too. There's a yeah, that's the Reaper Dragoon one right there. If you do this, but the helmet has. Oh. This is a full set. It is a full set. This is a full set of the naming. Yeah. Very nice. Oop. Do. Now that is a sight one could hardly forget. The great statue of Thaliak. As a student of Baldessian, I was usually quartered on the island of Val, but I would gaze upon the scholar's wise features every time I returned by ship to the city. This path leading out towards the sea is known as the Thaliak Stoa, so named for the statue of the scholar which stands at its end. As you know, the Charlean people prize the accumulation of wisdom above all else. Thus, when Thaliak was chosen as their patron deity, it was more a matter of pragmatism than belief, an alignment of principles, as it were. We may have honored him with a rather impressive sculpture, yes, but our faith is not so restrictive as that of, say, the Ishgardians. Individual Charlians can, and do, worship the divinities of their choosing. I see. Here we are, the last stand. I may have mentioned before, but although our research into nutrition and food preparation is quite extensive, the average Charlian tends to regard seasoning and flavor with a certain indifference. How can they do that? How can I put this? The food is, it's bland. As encapsulated by our infamous Archon loaf, the prevailing sentiment towards cuisine is dietary value first and taste a distant second. There was one pupil at the stadium, however, who could stomach the school's insipid meals no longer, so he quit his lessons and poured all his savings into building a proper eatery. And so the last stand came to be. It is, as the name implies, a sole dedicated outpost of fine dining in Charlotte, the one and only bastion of the culinary arts in an isle of otherwise mediocre fare. I seem to recall their burger being hailed as one of the more impressive items on the menu. Not that I ever had the pleasure of eating one myself. Because you were typical Charlotte when it came to cheap and convenient, Raha. But surely Tatsu's sons taught you how to appreciate a well-prepared dish. We should all stop in when time permits and sample the cafe's delights. Shall we press on? The stairs to the side of the cafe there will take us up to the 8th Rate Plaza. Sounds grand. Do 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 do. An unusual shape, isn't it? I assure you, however, it's a perfectly functioning 8th Rate. Remember to tune yourself before we move on. Now, being the diligent tour guide that I am, I should make mention of the Confluence, a research facility located on this very plaza. Its much vaunted discoveries are the reason Charlian stands at the forefront of teleportation technology. In deciphering the underlying principles of elegant 8th Rates, it allowed us to understand and reconstruct what was essentially a lost art. And off we go to our next destination. Our path leads northeast to the Agora, Charlian's largest marketplace. Speaking of 8th Rates, those teleportation fees do add up after a while, which is why I tended to rely on the far cheaper ferry services. I was pleasantly surprised when Mrs. Tatru informed me that the Scions are reimbursed for transportation costs as part of our duties. But I find old habits hard to break. Then I'd rather not be bothered filling out the necessary paperwork. That's the entrance to the Confluence. I have no doubt their expertise will prove useful at some point, so I suggest you remember the way here. That'll be fine. I don't think I've talked to my retainers in a while. These little open-air bookstalls are so uniquely Charlian. I'd always thought them a common sight until I visited other nations. Do you mind if I browse the shelves for a moment? There might be some hidden gems I've yet to read. Only a moment. How optimistic. Feel free to browse all you like, but we won't wait around for you. Perhaps I'll return here later then. Either I sold everything or it's been too long. Most likely it's just been too long. Yeah. I can repair over there. Do, 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 do. Welcome to the Agora, where you can find wares made in Charlian. as well as a wide selection of imported goods. They also used to sell questionable prototypes from the various research institutes, but I think the practice has thankfully died out for the most part. Otherwise, I can think of no better place to stock up for your next big adventure. Am I overselling it? On a more serious note, the next step on our tour is one which has particular relevance to our ultimate purpose here. We must head back to the Aetheryte Plaza, follow the path north, and climb the stairs up to that imposing building at the very top. Okay. These little decorative features are typical of Charlayan architecture. Aside from the research wing, our headquarters in the IOL were rather simple and rustic by comparison. This is the Nymphium, an area dedicated to the blessings of water. For Charlayan's, water represents more than a life-sustaining liquid. It is the reminder of the great flood which precipitated the birth of our nation, as well as a symbol of the knowledge which flows from Thalyak's divine ewer. This is the reason you see an abundance of fountains throughout the city, and a propensity for utilizing water as a decorative feature in our architecture. Okay, cool. This grand structure before you is the rostra. The name refers to the original public platform erected here, upon which a forum of elected representatives would deliver orations and debate policy. Although the stage has since evolved into council chambers, the nature of the forum and the duties of its members remain largely unchanged. Am I boring you, Raha? You seem awfully distracted. My apologies. From here, one can see the entire city spread out below. The vista put me in mind of my arrival in the first. Those who had gathered at the Crystal Tower asked me how they might go about building a new home. Naturally, my answers were all inspired by my knowledge of the finest settlement I could think of, the great city of Charlayan. And bit by bit, those few buildings grew into a town, a community, the Crystarium. I can almost see its echo. I see. Feel free to come up here whenever you wish. I don't think the counselors would object to you simply enjoying the view. Such memories should be treasured. For now, however, the tour must go on. Our spectacle of sightseeing concludes with the fittingly named Journey's End. Walk down the stairs to the east and continue straight ahead. I'm gonna go right here to the west first, if you don't mind. Ugh. Another wonderful day for my nose. This is a day that ends in Y, then my nose is pissed off about something or other. We've arrived at Journey's End. History tells us that this was where those who put ashore with Archon Nunkrep built their first homes. In the present day, it serves as a residential district for the most important officials and the oldest Charlayan families. You'll see that one mansion is clearly larger than its neighbors. That estate belongs to our friends from House Levalier. All things considered, we should probably keep our distance for the time being. And with that, we bring our little Charlayan tour to a close. I hope it has proven to be an entertaining and enlightening experience. Now, shall we head directly to the Baldessian Annex? You remember the way, don't you, Raha? Let me think. We head down towards the harbor, cross the bridge to our right, then follow the path below the Aetheryte Plaza? Correct. After you, Cedric. Thank you. I'm gonna go over here to... Do 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 do. Boom, 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 boom. Right, we cross this bridge here, as I recall. Stick to the path and be careful not to end up back in the Aetheri Plaza. Charlian is full of educational and research institutions, but there are still professors who prefer to establish their own private practices. Not that I ever attended the exclusive schools they run in these residences. Perhaps the twins could tell you more about them. Oh ho. Wait, I didn't get that one. Did I get that one? What? Did I already forget? Huh? Yeah, they got one round. Yeah, they got one round. Okay, I did not get that one. I thought I was losing it. So I only have one more to get to the studium. We can go down around. Oh, yeah. It need, yeah. I must have forgot to plug it in. As a joyous look on Raha's face has undoubtedly informed you this is the Baldessian Annex. If you continue up the hill, you'll arrive on the doorstep of Phenomenon. But I think we've explored enough for one day. We could take you there another time. Inside with you then. Okay. I'm Beck, and I brought Cedric and Raha with me. Ah, you're worried about the ship then? Hello, Graha, it's nice to see you again. And it's a pleasure to finally meet you, Cedric. I've heard many a tale of your exploits. Ojika Sunjika, has been an age. Allow me to introduce Ojika Sunjika, Administration Officer for the students of Baldessian. He oversees the day-to-day business of the Annex. The Champion of Urza has featured prominently in Crown Graha's reports, so for me this is akin to seeing a fabled hero come to life. It is an honor to make your acquaintance. This place is like a second home for the students. The Isle of Val served as our main headquarters, of course, but we often had occasion to visit Charlian. Rather than make use of the city's research facilities, attend conferences, or procure supplies from distant shores. And the annex here was built to provide lodgings for our members while we engaged in such activities. Ever since our former headquarters, along with the Isle itself, vanished, the annex has served as our base of operations. And yet it feels so empty. With so many lost to us, our organization is a shell of its former self. The day will come and we will see the students rise again. First, we must ensure that Teleforai fail. Absolutely. Through that door? On the left, there is the main hall where we can discuss our options moving forward. Once everyone arrives, that is, you'll probably have time to rest before our discussions begin in earnest. I've had private headquarters prepared for you in the Andron, so please feel free to make yourself at home. Ah, the nap room's perfect for an afternoon doze. Oh, I didn't mean to give you the wrong impression. The chambers are quite well appointed. Far more so than some cheap roadside inn, you may be assured. So simply that they were often so busy with research or exhausted from journeys abroad that we would slip into the Andron just to steal a few winks. And thus they became known among the students as nap rooms, even if many such naps might last well into the following morning. Say the word and I'll be happy to show you to your chamber. Hopefully, the others won't be too long in coming. I'll wait for you all in the main hall. Nice. Feeling refreshed and alert? Our colleagues should be wandering in soon, so I suggest we stay here and wait for them to join us.
Pray forgive me. I was delayed.
Oh, were you? What happened?
It's fine, Oriange. We're all here now.
Let's get down to business then, shall we?
Let's get down to business. Circus down. What is this?
Come what may, we must prevent the Telophoroi's plans from coming to fruition. At present,
That was the wrong
I
lyrics,
see
but
two
whatever.
paths for gathering the information which may aid us in achieving that goal.
Uh-huh.
The
What's the plan?
first involves an investigation into the change which has come over Charlian.
Oh.
Not to mention the recent inscrutable behavior of the Forum. As most of you know,
It's very weird, right?
the 99 members of the Forum are elected from the general populace.
No.
This alone guarantees a plethora of opinion with regards to foreign policy. The bibliotheques, for example, are a group of conservatives which would have Charlian focus on recording history, while remaining entirely uninvolved in the making of it. And at the other extreme, we have advocates for proactive diplomacy and direct intervention. My grandfather Galef was one such member, as was Archon Louisois. Yet despite our diverse factions and philosophies, the recent vote to deny Eorzea's request for assistance was unanimous. Even more concerning was the fact that many cited other, more pressing duties as justification for their recalcitrance.
Fortuno's refusal in Gridania had those same undertones. 'Twas as if, having stared unblinking into the face of impending doom, it simply turned away to pursue something more important. But what could that possibly be?
That's a good question.
A mystery indeed, and one which I ask for your help to solve. Our future may depend on it.
Oh, hey.
As for our second potential
Thank
path,
you, Mama
it
MJ, for the
concerns a
follow.
request
How are you
made
doing this
directly
evening?
to the students of Baldessian. Our organization was founded primarily to study strange and unexplained phenomena the world over. Mysterious relics and ruins.
What is that a
arcane
picture of,
disturbances,
actually?
And so forth. Compared to our more isolationist Charlian colleagues, we have strong connections overseas, namely with scholars and academics who share our passion for the unknown. The request in question comes from one such acquaintance, Nidana, an alchemist residing in distant Thavnair. Her missive describes the sudden appearance of a tower, and the subsequent summoning of what I can only assume is a lunar primal.
No problem. Thank you for stopping by. Have a good evening. I appreciate it very, very much.
In response to this threat, the Satrap of Rads at Han, the individual who governs the city-state, has instructed the alchemists to find a means to deal with the spire.
There's dealing with the Spire directly.
The artisans of that land are heirs to an ancient tradition, one rather unlike that of their Uldan counterparts.
Oh.
'Tis possible, nay, probable, that they have gleaned truths unattainable by Eorzea or her Far Eastern allies.
Oh, that'd be nifty.
They do, in fact, appear to have a strategy in mind, though it will require further research. To that end, they have requested an introduction to a capable warrior shielded by the blessing of light.
No. Let's see.
Assuming we divide our forces to pursue both of Kral's lines of inquiry, and having you join the group heading to Thavnair would seem the obvious choice.
It would, huh?
But the investigation in Sharlayan is of vital importance as well. Equal, I think, to the Thavnarian one, given that the fate of the world may hinge on the results of both.
Yes, it is quite the quandary.
Oh.
Though it is a great imposition and an altogether too common one, our efforts would be more likely to succeed were you to lead the charge on both fronts.
I get you. Good shot too.
You are indeed our champion. As to which task to tackle first, we will defer to your decision. Let us next decide how everyone else might best be assigned. As for myself, I shall continue what I've begun in Sharlayan.
That makes sense.
I should also like to steal the services of an Archon or two.
Oh.
And thereby gain access to a greater range of reading material. I will help with that.
Allow me to offer my assistance. I have some small amount of experience in the field of research.
Nice.
Alize and I would also like to help, if you would have us.
Anything to understand even a fraction of what our father and the Forum might be thinking.
Right.
Of course, the more the merrier.
Right. The rest of us will make the journey to Thavnair.
Okay.
Thoughts? Objections?
I passed through Thavnair on my way to infiltrate the Empire, and though I'm not qualified to give a guided tour, I did gain a sense of where things lie.
Oh, that's good.
I'll be happy to have you along then. So for this group, it will be you, me, and Urianger.
Nice.
Give me a moment afterwards, and I'll supply you with all the details of Nadana's request. Consider this hall our rendezvous point once our respective tasks are complete.
Huh.
May
Okay.
our investigations prove fruitful.
Ooh, completed. Ooh. Oh yeah, now I can wait, what? Oh yeah, now I can do the other abilities. Nice. I should probably pump some XP into Sage. Let's put hitting the books. And unsettling changes come over Sharlayan, but together we will divine the underlying cause for the Forum's callousness. As I mentioned before, however, questioning the counselors directly is a fruitless endeavor. We seem to have already come to a consensus as to what and how little they are willing to divulge. Which is why I began scouring Sharlayan's archive of historical records for any hint of a connection to the final days. Suffice it to say that progress has been slow. There are only so many dusty pages one can skim in a day. But now I have a band of willing reinforcement. The search should proceed all the swifter. Let's reconvene outside Numenon, shall we? Then exit the annex to the right, and you'll find the archives on the western edge of the woods. pick this up too. With Krau's instructions in hand, if you're ready to set out, then so are we. Having been to Thavnair before, I could travel by Aetheryte. But what of the rest of you? Another sea voyage would waste time we do not have. Kryle was of the same mind and has already secured the aid of the good folk of the Confluence. We'll take ourselves there. Alright. The Confluence, thou sayest. I'm afraid so, my friend. Huh? Thou wilt recall the hunt for Iceheart, unto whose sanctuary we delivered thee owing to the knowledge of our comrade Moonbreda. Moonbreda was an authority on aetherology, a field of study she did embark upon in pursuit of her parents' example. Both are authorities in their own right, and both are researchers at the Confluence. Haven't you gone to see them yet? I attempted to do so earlier, but to my shame, my courage failed me at the last. As it hath many times, I thought to reach out to them after sending that fateful letter. Neither time nor introspection have revealed unto me the words I should speak, and thus have I kept my silence. Whether you come with us or no is your choice and yours alone. If it is too difficult, we'll manage. Thou art kind to say so, but I have no intention of forsaking our cause. I shall go to the Confluence, and I shall face that which hath long been overdue. If it's settled, then let's be off. When we arrive, we should look for a researcher named Kit. Kit Kat. Kit Kat. Use my nose a moment. I need a prop for a tissue permanently stuck in my nose. Alright, that's for Thavnair. I'm going over here to the studio now. Oh, you know what? This is the perfect time. Still nobody's been on. Okay, good. I don't know why I didn't realize that. This is the perfect time for this. Doesn't last much longer, but it's okay. What? I'm gonna go up here to this Aetheryte first. Rank 8. I'm almost to rank 8. Okay. I'm gonna switch to Sage for now too. That's the biker. We'll go biker. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. I don't think I need this. I don't need the stuff on Sage either. So. Huh? Okay, that's true. Have I done that on Reaper? I didn't even buy better earrings on Reaper yet. I gotta do that. What's my tombstone situation like? Not good. My directions were easy enough to follow, I hope. In any case, you stand now before the doors of Numenon, Charlene's grandest collection of books and tomes. This building is actually only an entrance, and one of many at that. For the archives of Numenon extend deep beneath the surface like the roots of a tree. The vast halls of the Great Google Library pale in comparison to Numenon's endless maze of subterranean chambers. Any citizen of Charlene is free to enter and peruse its shelves. Well, most of its shelves. Only archons are afforded access to certain restricted vaults. Thank you very much. I've dispatched Yestola and Raha to investigate those. Meanwhile, Alize and Alfino will help me continue my search through the stacks open to the general public. Your status presents more of a problem. As a non-citizen, you're only permitted to browse the first floor here at the entrance. Even so, there should be a number of books which touch upon Charlian history or foreign policy. Your task will be to find and study the relevant publications. I promise you, a working knowledge of those subjects will make it far easier to spot the sort of clues we're looking for. Let's be about it, shall we? I've told the others to meet us at the stone benches over there once we found some promising tomes. Happy reading. Happy reading indeed. Put that back on me. I thought I need it. Stewards of Wisdom. During the chaos of the 6th Umbral Calamity, Archon Neonkrep, founder of Charlian, bore witness to the madness and savagery of men brought to the brink of despair. Upon raising a settlement on an island in the northern empty, he instructed his people thus: renounce the ways of war and pursue enlightenment through knowledge and reason. The Charlians took to heart the words of their savior and thenceforth served as stewards of wisdom. Upon a foundation of accumulated learning, they built a homeland unlike any other. A nation born from strength of minds rather than strength of arms. With knowledge of economics came shrewd trading. With knowledge of agriculture came bountiful crops. Engineering brought wells and sewers, ending squabbles over water. Wealth of expertise could be bartered for wealth in coin, and the more their wisdom spread throughout the world, the more mankind as a whole would thrive. And so it was that no matter the trials and tribulations they aged, the citizens of Charlian would live by their founder's teachings. For the sake of a better tomorrow, for the sake of a brighter star, they would eschew the tools of war and with knowledge deliver the world. Nice. Forever 20 summers. I don't think that has anything to do with what we're doing here. Introduction to the Heavens. No. The voice of a growing city. In the years which followed the founding of Charlian, civic policy and other matters of import were decided at the Ecclesia, a public forum at which every citizen was eligible to speak. As the city's population grew, however, this format became increasingly impractical. The large number of participants gave rise to ever longer debates, resulting in significant delays of vital resolutions. Various measures were introduced in an attempt to curtail protracted discussions, but in the year 201 of the 6th Astral Era, it was ultimately decreed that Charlian would transition to a new form of governance. The nation would now be led by a body of 99 members. Citizens chosen from amongst their peers by means of a nationwide vote. Thus was the forum as we know it today conceived and created. Okay. Vote the colony. Maybe I don't need this one. Middleshire, yeah. Story of Charlian. Long, long ago, in the northern sea, there lived a rugged man by the name of Neonkrep. Neonkrep was a student of astrology and divined that a flood of terrifying proportions would soon sweep over the lands of Eorzea. So it was that he built a gigantic ship, assembled a crew, and set sail for that imperiled realm. The flood arrived as foretold, and to their horror, the strangely churning waters drove the people towards the ocean. It was there, however, that Neonkrep's crew hauled them aboard his ark, but the danger had not passed. A towering wave approached, threatening to smash the vessel to pieces. Without any moment's despair, Neonkrep wove a mighty spell of teleportation and shifted the entire ship to safety atop Abalathia's spine. Refugees from the surrounding regions huddled there alongside them, but it was not long before disputes over the dwindling supply of food led to violence and bloodshed. Saddened by the sight, Neunkrepp gathered to him his crew and his grateful passengers and abandoned the Ark to those abandoned peaks. They journeyed to the coast where they built a new ship, intent upon returning to the northern seas. They landed on the beach of an island and settled upon that very spot. The settlement prospered and grew, and in time it became the city of Charlotte, and we live in to this day. Nice. Sorry, were you waiting long? I wanted to make sure I'd borrowed at least a few promising volumes. Alphino and Crowell should be along shortly. I was delayed in similar fashion. As far as I could see, no titles on the Archon stacks mention the final day specifically. You have no choice but to start with it. Tangentially relevant tomes, if they're even that. At present, the plan is to skim through as quickly as we dare and share our discoveries as we make them. It would have been nice to invite everyone to the estate. Plenty of comfortable places to read and a ready supply of hot tea. Oh, as always, quite fond of reading outside, but it's not about the little pleasures, is it? You miss your home. It's been difficult. After our arrival, we managed to speak with one of the family servants and ask how things were. It seems our dear father has instructed the staff that even if Alphino and I were to return to Charlene, we were not to be allowed across the threshold. What the heck, man? A harsh measure indeed. I hope that our efforts to understand his position and that the forum will perhaps lead to a reconciliation. We'll mend this rift one day, I'm certain of it. What of you, Graha? Have you been to visit your family, or do they not live here in the city? Ah, well. My situation is somewhat complicated. I was raised in Charlene, yes, but I was born rather further away. The southern reaches of Isla Bard. In fact, for generations my people have dwelt in Corvos, the coastal region opposite the island of Thevner. The Alligans founded a city in that fertile land and by ship brought in the subjugated tribes of the Mikote to serve as laborers. Oh. Of course, the massive earthquakes of the fourth Umbral Calamity brought an end to the Empire's reign. When the fifth calamity froze the sea solid, many of the tribes still living in Corvus braved the journey back to Eorzea. My ancestors, however, chose to remain that they might prevent the remnants of Alligan technology from being misused. Huh. Isn't Corvos under Garlean rule? For the past 50 years, yes, some semblance of local culture remains, as is the case for most imperial provinces. But Garlemald renamed the region Locus Amonis, Among Us. When I was a boy, a nearby town came under the jurisdiction of an illustrious imperial family, the nobles of House Darnus. Oh. House Darnus demonstrated a singular interest in Alligan civilization, so my tribe was forced to consider a plan of action. For some time already, voices had been raised in favor of banning our ancient customs. After all, the elegant eye no longer passed to our eldest children as reliably as it once had. Fear of discovery eventually tipped the scales, and the decision was made to bury our ties to the knowledge and traditions of Alag. As the last child born with the elegant eye, I was given over to the custody of friends and the students of Baldessian who had been registered as a Charlian citizen. I never even considered. Forgive me. It was an unkind question. Even Thancred was taken in by Archon Louisoix, was he not? Stories of adopted waifs and rescued orphans are more common among Charlians than you might think. Yet, regardless of our origins, we are all provided with an equal opportunity to learn, and with sufficient perspicacity, we outsiders can even earn the vaunted title of Archon. This is exactly why I have such love for this country, and why I wish it to remain a nation of which its citizens can be proud. Here, another good reason to get to the bottom of the form of stubbornness, aside from the trifling matter of our impending doom. Excuse us while we try to make some headway into these books. Cedric, more company should be arriving any moment now. Sounds good. We've returned with our selections, although I must say the pickings were quite slim indeed. Mrs. Crow has already flicked through every history book devoted to disasters and more than a few which barely made mention of them. As such, we'll be looking into research papers on the Umbral calamities, as well as articles written by prominent forum members. Perhaps our knowledge of the final days comes from an unexpected source. Speaking of which, might I ask you a few questions related to the final days? I'm the only one here who didn't witness the events of Amarat firsthand, and I fear I may be overlooking critical details. Yeah, leave it to me. My thanks. Now where to begin? First things first. What kind of phenomena did the ancients encounter as the final days grew nigh? Complete destabilization of creation magics. Yes, the unfolding catastrophe wrought havoc on all manner of life. Chaos extended to the ancients themselves, causing the powers of creation to spiral out of control. Fear and despair are manifested in terrible, tangible fashion. Meteors raining from the sky, fire erupting from the ground, indescribable abominations prowling the streets. That more or less aligns with my understanding. If only the arts of creation had survived until the present day, we might have had something substantial to analyze. To the best of our knowledge, however, those techniques were not preserved or passed on. Yestola surmises that the closest known magic is that of the summoning rituals promulgated by the Asians. Was there aught else of note which heralded the approach of the final days? They say it began with a keening sound from the land itself. It wasn't all at once. Oh yes, the Amartines spoke of it, didn't they? We never did hear this sound ourselves, of course, thrust as we were into the midst of the madness. But it seems that each and every one of the contestants was preceded by this ominous noise. Eventually it resounded all across the star, not even Amaranth was spared. So the Grom was crying out, you say? To be considered the harbinger of doom, must have been quite distinctive, and probably quite loud. I have to speak with one of the Numenon's mammoths and ask after any books which make mention of such a sound. Last but not least, would you describe how the ancients sought to quell this unprecedented calamity? What definitive action did they take? This is a test? It summoned Zodiac. Yes, with the little bit serving as his heart, so many gave themselves in sacrifice to bring him into being. We do not know exactly how Zodiac brought salvation to the star, only that by his godlike will were the laws of nature set right. Then, once the balance was readjusted, the ancients offered up a further sacrifice to heal the ravages of the final days. Lives sprouted anew, and it was these fledgling souls they intended to render unto Zodiac, a trade that would have allowed them to resurrect the shades of loved ones absorbed by the primal. Or might have, had Venat and her fellows not manifested their opposition in the form of Heidelin. Thank you, both of you, for the detailed review. I feel much more confident now in my understanding of events. With all that freshly in mind, it does make me wonder what the Telophoroi truly mean when they speak of bringing back the final days. We've seen what they're doing with these towers of theirs, is forcing people to summon primal as a kind of catalyst? Are they attempting to mirror the conditions caused by unstable creation magics? Or are they simply using the final days as a figure of speech? A convenient metaphor for the scale of destruction they plan to unleash. But this is all just pointless conjecture at this stage, so let's return to our attention to the forum, shall we?
Yeah.
We should keep an eye out for Yastola, but it's time we begin studying these research papers. It's a good idea. I finished this last little bit of yoga. Okay. Bum 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 bum. At the last, am I? Well, my extended research of the Archon stacks produced one or two possibly useful books, but I wouldn't get your hopes up. If you recall, Orianjay learned of the source's reflections from the Geram oracles, where its potential to cause panic and confusion that time was deemed apocrypha and sealed away in the Great Google Library. It is even less likely that knowledge of the unsundered world, not to mention the horrors of the final days, would be left sitting on a shelf for any curious scholar to find. It stands to reason, then, that my colleagues, be they archons or counselors, should perforce be largely ignorant of the subject. Yet when confronted Master Fortunal with knowledge of the Telophoroi and their machinations, he scoffed at a suggestion that they pose a threat. He seemed adamant that the Forum would know if the final days were truly upon us, which only supports the conclusion that whatever privileged wisdom is guiding the Forum's behavior is being kept secret from the rest of the nation. Huh. Not that I mean to excuse myself from reading duty. Whether they contain mention of the final days or no, these books could yet hold something of value. You weren't thinking of leaving, were you? There's plenty of work for everyone. I'm not a student. I don't know. I don't know how to study. Don't make me study, Yashtola. You labor for it. It feels like an age as Yashtola's research assistant. Oh no. Oh dear, you look exhausted. But what about your studies? Were you able to find any books on the subjects I mentioned? Yes. Then the day was well spent. Should you wish to read them again, a memo at the reference desk will point you in the right direction. For a moment though, I suggest you take a well-deserved rest. We might be occupied with our research for quite some time. No thank you. Alize, get me out of this, Alize. Ready for a tea break, Cedric? I know I am. Honestly, my neck and shoulders are going to calcify if I don't stretch my legs and walk around for a bit. You know the last stand down in the harbor, don't you? Come and meet me near the outside tables and I'll treat you to their coffee. It's quite good. Nice. Boom. Boom. What is this? Is that hunting stuff? Yeah. I think this is for hunts. Yeah, it is. Boom, 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 boom. The scholar. Nice. Yay. Okay. Can't get them all this time. As busy as ever, I see. How very startling that no other gourmet cafe has sprung up to compete for customers. Actually, this crowd gives me an idea. Before we place an order, why don't we ask a few questions to gauge the mood of the city? I'm interested to hear what the average citizen has to say about the Talafaroi. Might even learn something new. Worth a try, don't you think? Sure. Why not? Wait, what? What is it? Can a man not enjoy a moment of private respite? If you're looking to share a table, then I respectfully request that you look elsewhere. You must understand, sir. We were simply wondering if you knew the Talafaroi. These enemies of peace have promised an end to all we hold dear, and... Wait, you're the House Levior girl, aren't you? This man with you is obviously a foreigner. I'd heard you were disowned for helping outsiders indulge their barbaric whims, and here you are giving truth to the rumor. Oh, thank you, leave me be. I've not to say the likes of you. Well, I must apologize. So it's foolish of me to expect an ounce of civility from one so enlightened. Cedric. Goodness. Yes, I don't believe I've had the pleasure. Excuse the interruption. We were hoping you might share your thoughts on the Talafaroi and their unconscionable plans. My goodness, if it isn't the young Miss Levior. My apologies, but I work in the offices of the Forum, and if word reached Master Fortunate that I was helping you. I see. We're sorry I bothered you. That's a shame. Welcome, sir. What can I offer you today? Wait, is that Mr. Salazar I see there? My word, how long has it been? Far too long. Meet Dickon, the owner of The Last Stand. I used to frequent his cafe on occasion in between lessons at the studium. Seems like an age ago now. I remember hearing that you and Master Alfino had set sail for Eorzea, but then you never came back. Lately, there's been gossip about your father disowning the pair of you. Everything all right at home? It's complicated. I hadn't expected a complete stranger to be so familiar with our situation quite so quickly. Everyone has an opinion, it seems. Well, it is, House Levior. No matter how discreet Master Fortunato may have been, news of your family's doings never stays secret for long. Things being what they are, what brings you back to the city now, of all times? We have questions, and only Charlene has the answers. Tell me, Master Dickon, have you heard anything about an apocalypse called the Final Days? What, like the end of the world? Nothing like that, I'm afraid, and that's what you're here to find? Information on this apocalypse? Yes, whatever we can learn. Unfortunately, your patrons appear to be unwilling to speak with me. I'm sure there's more I could do to help. But maybe there is. You're a visitor to Charlene, aren't you? Yeah. And few will know your face. We should be able to pass you off as a server with none the wiser. We just finished preparing a few orders. Strike up some friendly conversation while you're sending down the food, and you might just get the answers you're looking for. Not a bad idea. I hate to ask, but what do you think? Leave it to me. What's the spirit? Pay attention now, and I'll explain where each of these dishes need to go. The tea is for the chatty group by the water's edge. The omelet is for one of our regulars, a Highlander by the name of Gisla. She's sitting at an outside table with a friend of hers. Behind them, you should see a Mikote gentleman. He ordered the oven-baked lobster. Got all that? If you're not sure, just ask and I'll explain again. Good luck. Thankfully, it's right here. It's one at a time anyway. This should be the tea set. Oh, my tea set. Lovely, thank you. The Telefo who? I'm sorry, I've never heard of them. Or their Final Days. My friends and I are somewhat uninformed when it comes to current events. Now, if you want to hear about the ritual arcane practices of the 6th Astral Era, common or esoteric, then I'd be happy to talk your ear off. Ah. Okay. What is that huge set? Is it like a heated tray, too? Ah, finally a 2 for 6-8. Let's dig in, no time to waste. Eh? What, the Telephoroi? Ah yes, I remember seeing the name in the latest Gazette. Then some grand claim about the end of days. Same old senseless warmongering. When will these fools grow tired of spilling each other's blood? Let's stay out of it. I say the forum made the right choice and I fully support our decision to remain neutral. At last, the oven-baked lobster is mine. Wow, it's huge. You have no idea how long I've scrimped and saved and suffered to afford this heavenly dish. Final Days. This is the first I've heard of it. Although that would explain why my friend has been rushed off his feet. It must be a busy time to be a gleaner. Huh? Huh? You don't know what a gleaner is. They're collectors of a sort. Travel the world procuring things that we haven't got here at Charlene. Priceless books, unusual live specimens, and so forth. So named for those folk who trail after the reapers in the fields, picking up every grain which was missed. By all accounts, gleaning is the most meticulous and demanding profession. These Telephoroi make good on their audacious threats. Many uncatalogued rarities could be lost forever. Why else would the gleaners be buzzing about in such a frenzy? Watch the harbor and you'll see what I mean. They're carting loads in from the docks all day. It's never been this hectic before. Not like this. Interesting. Interesting. They're suddenly very busy, huh? Suddenly very busy, huh? Any trouble with the customers? Were you able to get anyone talking? A little bit. Interesting. They seem unaware of the final days, aside from whatever vague news the gazettes are printing. Even Dickon had nothing to offer, and he's the best source of gossip in the city. The Forum does have secret knowledge, and they've done an impressive job of ensuring no one whispers it in their wrong ear. In any case, thank you for playing the part so well. Here, that cup of coffee. I promised. Nice. But let's enjoy a drink somewhere else, shall we? Maybe behind the peristyle, away from the gossips and their wagging tongues. Sounds good. Boom, boom, boom. Yes, this should do nicely. Out of the wind and out of sight. Boo boo. Oh, it's such a great moment.
When our father disowned us, I couldn't believe what I was hearing. It wasn't until much later that his words began to sink in, that I began to feel the weight of what it meant. Do you remember when the decision was made to come to Charlian?
Yeah.
Graham said that the Forum was determined to keep us in the dark, and that Father's venomous performance was part of that strategy, to keep us at arm's length. Perhaps it was. Father argued with Grandfather on many occasions, but never with such dismissive contempt. And when he demanded what justifies the sacrifices we make in war, I honestly didn't know what to say. Neither did Alpha know, I know, but never for one moment did I believe we had made the wrong choice.
Right.
So all I could do was fume silently. It was only afterwards that I realized how childish I had been. How being stubborn and self-righteous must run in the family. If I could have just mustered a civil response, then things might have turned out differently.
Maybe. What is all this then? It's a lot of stuff, isn't it?
They must be ferrying goods to Labyrinthos.
Labyrinthos. What do you mean?
A vast complex beneath the island. Charlian is famous for archiving knowledge from around the world. Well, that knowledge is not preserved exclusively in dusty tomes and desiccated samples. Our living library, comprised of all manner of flora and fauna, is housed and studied within that underground facility.
Oh.
Still, that did seem to be an unusually large shipment. When I lived here, it was rare to even see such cargo transported by boat. Wait! Didn't you hear something in the last stand about the gleaners coming and going more than usual?
Sure have.
Well, I think they're the ones we saw manning those boats. And gleaners answer to the Forum. If the appearance of the Telophoroi prompted this sudden burst of activity, then Labyrinthos may hold a clue as to what the Forum is planning.
Could be, huh? Labyrinthine descent. We should tell the others what we've learned about the Gleaners. Go on ahead to the Numenon. I'll join you in a moment. Master Deacon will want his cups back. A good idea to return those. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Welcome back, Cedric. Been for a walk and cleared your head, have you? Not exactly. We did some impromptu investigating and turned up information on the Gleaners. Makes sense. The Gleaners take the request directly from institutions and bureaucrats, but as you say, they ultimately answer the forum. A sudden and significant increase in Gleaner traffic and in cargo. It certainly gives the impression of an overarching plan being put into motion. Let's see what theory we can build from the facts. As Yestola observed earlier, Numenon's archives appear to contain no information concerning the final days. Coupled with what Cedric and Alizé learned at the last stand, we can be reasonably sure that most Sharlayans know nothing of that particular period of ancient history. Yet my father and his colleagues are not only familiar with the final days, but are also somehow certain that the destruction being perpetrated by the Talofroi is wholly unlike these apocalyptic events. Moreover, the Forum claims to be so occupied by a duty of such pressing importance that they saw fit to unanimously deny Ori's request for aid. And now the Gleaners, official agents of the state, have been mobilized on an unprecedented scale. I do not think it a stretch to conclude that the Gleaners' recent activities are in service to the Forum's secretive ends. In which case, our next course of action seems obvious. We visit Labyrinthos and assess the situation for ourselves. And if we're lucky, the Gleaners will be far more receptive to our questions. Yeah, anything would be better than another book. I understand not everyone is the studious type. Consider this a welcome change of pace then. As for myself, there are a few more subjects I should like to research. I may join you later, but feel free to leave behind your borrowed books and be on your way. I'll see to that each is returned to its proper place. That would be a great help. Thank you, Raha. Let's head down the stairs over there and I'll show you where the entrance is. Right. Boom, boom, boom. Ready, Labyrinth is not too far from here, but you may find the path a bit disorienting. I'll take the lead, so stay close. Then let's go. Come on, come on, come on. Okay. Hey. 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 Hey, Alizé. Alizé, come on, Alizé. But we really should move. Yes, we should move along. Come on. Come on. Come on. Over this way. Yeah, I'm behind. I'm on the other side of you. As though you're walking slower than I walk backwards. cross this bridge. Up here. The rostra, not far now. I could have. Look. Listen, I could have just taken the Ethernet. Alize, why did we do this? Here we are, through this door and down the stairs. Did remember to tune the shard back there, didn't you? It'll make your life much easier if you need to come back in a hurry. Otherwise, we should keep moving. I already did that a long time ago. Alize. That was annoying, Alize. Chocobo keep. We're all here now, yes. I've taken the liberty of securing permission for our group's descent. Right, everyone onto the lift and down we go. Nice. Whoa. It's raining.
Deep beneath the scholar's city shines a false sun within a fabricated sky.
Oh.
In any age exist those who consider the floor an extension of their bookshelves. And this false architect surely belongs to that special breed.
Oh.
If the stack grows too high, start a new one. If no room remains, then make more rooms.
Oh.
A simple solution at first, and then bit by bit, a profound transformation.
Wow.
Knowledge, buried beneath knowledge, a growing, creeping labyrinth from which there is no escape.
No escape, huh? The northern empty labyrinthos. Do 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 do. Boom 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 boom.
Not what you expected. I must admit, the artifice is very convincing.
Very nice.
But I assure you that
Raining
we are
now.
beneath Sharlayan itself. The breeze you feel, the flowing waters you hear, all created by the hand of man.
It's wild.
The island is volcanic, you see, and once upon a time this great hollow must have been a reservoir for magma.
Oh. We didn't dig it
was
out.
discovered some 400 years ago, at which point it was repurposed as a storage facility for scrolls and samples and such. Renovations have continued, with nigh on no interruption to this day, with the lower levels still undergoing expansion.
Oh.
Aren't those people gleaners?
Sure looks like it.
Aye, judging by their dress. They are said to work alone as a rule, but 'twould seem that rule is being enthusiastically broken today.
Uh-huh.
It may be as you suspected, that they are engaged in a task apart from the norm.
Yeah.
Let's spread out and get some answers then.
Huh?
Did you call to me just now?
No.
No. How odd. I must be a bit dizzy from the descent.
Maybe.
I'll be fine, I'm sure. Let's get to work, shall we?
All right. With that, I'm gonna call it a day. Actually, right there. So that's it for today. Tomorrow will be more of the same tomorrow. And then we'll go from there. Alright. That was the start of Endwalker. We'll start our Labyrinthos journey tomorrow. Time to get ready for work. You all have a good night. Bye now. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye.